Hello viewers, I'm so happy to have you here again, and today we are going to learn how to solve quadratic equation by factorization method. A lot of students find this method really challenging, but in this video lesson I'm going to try as much as I can to make it short, easy and simple. And at the end of the day, I have a package for you, a diagram I have for you. So you want to watch this video to the end so that you can see the picture I drew for you. It's going to be fun. And also the contact you see right below the screen is my contact. So you can reach me if you want to talk to me. If you want to appreciate our work, you can also reach me through that contact. And we'll be so grateful to hear from you. And never forget, if you find value from this video, let me know in the comment section and let us go right to the next question we have for you. All right, so every question you see right here on this screen, we are going to solve all of them by factorization method. Take note, in our previous videos, we have done quadratic equation by formula method and by completing the square method. But this video, we're going to be talking about factorization method. So let us go right into it and smash it. So now I have this problem to solve. Here you can see we have x squared minus 7x plus 6 equal to 0. The coefficient of x squared here is 1. So I'm going to multiply that coefficient of x squared with a constant term, which is 6. So 1 times 6 is just 6, right? Now, yeah, this is where it gets challenging. A lot of students find this area difficult. So pay close attention and stay glued to your screen. Keep your eyes peeled, all right? So now, see what I'm going to do right now. I'm looking for two numbers such that when I multiply these two numbers, I will get this 6 we got here. And when I add or subtract, those same two numbers, I will get a negative 7. That is the coefficient of x here. That is as simple as it is. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to find those two numbers right now. How do we find those two numbers? I'm looking for, you start with the multiplication. What will you multiply to get 6? Of course, you know, 1 times 6 will give me a 6. Yes. And you know, you want to either add them or subtract them to get a negative 7, right? So if you add these two guys, 1 plus 6 will give us 7. But what we need is a negative 7, right? So what we need to do, we need to change the sign of 1 and 6 so that we can get a negative 7. Because, you know, minus 1 times minus 6 will still give me a 6, positive 6. And minus 1 minus 6 will give me a negative 7. So the two numbers I'm looking for is what? Minus 1 and minus 6. You get it now? So you see the way I got my two numbers, right? Even if you don't get this one, I believe the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth example, by then you would have mastered the whole act of getting these two numbers. So the two numbers I'm looking for is minus 1 and minus 6. Here is minus 1. Here will be minus 6 right here. So like you're putting addition sign here because minus plus is still minus, right? So the two numbers I'm looking for is minus 1 and minus 6. And you see it works. Then we come here and replace this 7, this negative 7 with those two numbers, which is minus 1x minus 6x. You can definitely say minus x, but I just want to put all of this for a reason. So now we write this guy as 1x squared. Instead of writing minus 7x, what will I write? I will write minus 1x minus 6x. Then you have your plus 6 right here equal to 0. Now let's go back to it. You know, minus 1x minus 6x is actually minus 7x. So we've not done any changes yet. But remember how we got the minus 1 and the minus 6. That is very important. Now the next thing I want to do, I will group these equations. I'll group them in twos. See the way I group them. What is common in this first one? Of course, 1 is not a significant number to bring it out. What is common in the variable is x. So when I bring out x, if x squared is divided by x, I will get x. Then if x is divided by x, I will get 1. As if to say x times x is x squared, x times minus 1 is minus 1x or minus x. So now I will leave a space right here, and whatever I have in this factor, I will paste it here. In this parenthesis, I will paste it here. Now I'll go back to that space I left. What will I multiply with x to get a negative 6x? Of course, that is just negative 6. Because negative 6x, 6 times s will give us a negative 6s. Now, these two guys are common. I'll factor them out again, x minus 1. And these guys are what will be left. I have x minus 6, right, equal to 0. Now, the next thing I want to do, two products are, the product of two guys is equal to 0. It means that either one of them is 0 or both of them is 0. It's either x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 6 is equal to 0. And from here, you make x the subject. So x is equal to 1 here, or x is equal to 6 here. So now my answers are 1 and 6. Simple. Now, the short way I want to show you on how to solve this problem. I told you I'll show you two methods of solving quadratic equation. Really simple. So the short method here is I have x squared minus 7x plus 6 equal to 0. Students love short method. But make sure you understand the log method. I know a lot of students love short method so much, but I want you to get right this long method, okay? Now, since these two factors, we've gotten the two numbers to be minus 1 and minus 6, I'll open a bracket right here like this. I'll put my x here and my x here. And the two numbers we're looking for, we're getting them to be minus 1 and minus 6. So I'll just place them right here, minus 1 and minus 6. And you know what's the coefficient of x squared here is 1, right? So I'm supposed to divide these guys by 1, but dividing anybody by 1 doesn't really change anything. So I'm going to leave them like that, and I'll equate them to 0. So x minus 1 equal to 0, or x minus 6 equal to 0. And from here, x is equal to 1, or x is equal to 6. This one is quite short, right? But take note, I'm supposed to divide this guy by 1, but dividing it by 1 does not really change anything. And dividing 6 also by 1 does not change anything. But I know in the next example, or the two examples after now, we will get a number that is different from 1. That's when you get to understand this method very well. So let us go to the next question. Question 2. Now, this is still having a coefficient of 1 here. So it's still easy, just like the one we treated. So I'll multiply 1 and 8. Of course, I'll get 8. Simple. Now, I'm looking for two numbers such that when I multiply them together, I will get two numbers. When I multiply them together, I will get a positive 8. And when I add or subtract them together, I will get a negative 6. That's this guy right beside x. What are those two numbers? I like to start from multiplication. What will you multiply to get 8? Of course, you know, 8 times 1 will give me 8. Then when I add these two guys, 8 plus 1 will give me 9. It's not minus 6. Then subtract them. 8 minus 1 will give me 7. It's not still minus 6. So I'll need to look for another number that can multiply to get 8. So what I do here is that I can divide this 8 by 2. This 8 is divisible by 2 now, right? If I divide 8 by 2, I'll get 4. So that means 8 can be written as 4 times 2, right? Then times 1. So I'll combine these two guys together. So I have 4 times 2. And you know, 4 times 2 is still 8. This is how you can generate numbers when it's even bigger. This is quite small. I know a lot of you know how to get this one, but I'm just showing you the trick on how to generate numbers. You see 8 here is divisible by 2. So I divided it by 2, I got 4. Now multiply it by 2. The 2 I divided it with, I'm multiplying it with that 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. Of course, these 2 and 1, I combine them together. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I have 2 factors, which is 4 and 2. 4 times 2 will give me 8. Now, 4 plus 2 will give me in positive 6, and I need a negative 6. What you do, just change the sign. That's what you do. Minus 4 times minus 2. Minus 4 times minus 2 will give me 8, and minus 4 minus 2 will give me minus 6. You see, when I multiply them, I got 8, and when I subtract them, I got negative 6. So the two numbers I'm looking for is minus 4 and minus 2. So I'll replace minus 6x as minus 4x minus 2x, right? Yes. So and then I have plus 8 equal to 0. The next thing is to group them, right? Hope you're taking notes down. Hope you're taking the note. So now when you group them, what is common in this first factor? You can see x is common here. X is common. No number is common, just only x. So when x squared is divided by x, you got x. When minus 4x is divided by x, you get minus 4. As if to say x times x is x squared. X times minus 4 is minus 4x, right? All right, so let's move on. So you leave a space here. Whatever you have in this parentheses, you have to paste it here. Do you know why? Okay, you don't know. The reason is because these two factors must be the same. They must be the same. Yeah, these two guys here, right here, they must be the same. Now you go back to this space you left. You ask yourself, what will you multiply with x to get a negative 2x? What is that number? Of course, that is minus 2. So minus 2 times x will give me minus 2x, and minus 2 times minus 4 will definitely give me positive 8. I hope you're following now. So you see these two guys, they are common factor here. So I have to factor them out again, and I'll be left with x minus 2. So x minus 2, I mean this x right here and this minus 2 right here. That is what we have here, equal to 0. Now, two products are equal to, the product of two numbers or factors is equal to 0. What it means either one of them is 0, or even both of them will be maybe 0. So I want to equate them to 0. So x minus 4 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So from here, you see s is equal to 4 and x is equal to 2. Simple. Now, using the short method I showed you in the previous example, it's still the same thing. But I know the next example will be much more clearer using the short method. So let me show you now. Of course, you open up a parenthesis like this, equal to 0, and you're talking about x now. So x will be here and x will be here. What are those two numbers you're looking for? Minus 1, minus 2. You plug them right here, right? And because the coefficient of x squared here is 1, so you can't divide everybody by 1 because it's not significant. Don't worry, the next example, you will see the reason why we need to divide everybody by the coefficient of x squared. And you see how I divide it. Now equate them to 0, so you have x minus 4 equal to 0, or x minus 2 equal to 0. So x is equal to 2 and x equal to 4. If you leave the video from this point, you will definitely miss it, because the next example is what will ascertain this method I'm showing you. If you don't get it right, you will miss it. So don't miss it now. Wait till the next example. So let us go to that example now. Example 4. Now you see I have a coefficient of x squared here that is not 1. So that is where I want you to pay much attention. So first thing first, multiply 6 and 12. And that will give us 6 times 2 is 12. That will give us 72, right? We have multiplied 12, then you get 72. Now we're still looking for two numbers such that when I multiply them, I'll get 72. And when I add them, I'll get negative 17. What could that two number be? The two number will be, I don't know. But let's start with, of course, 72 times 1 will definitely give me 72. That one is fine. And when I add them, I won't get 17. It's really, really far from 17. But that means I need to dissolve this 72. Like you see, 72 is divisible by 2. Then when I divide 72 by 2, I'll get 36, right? So I'll get 36. 36 times 2 will give me the 72 because I divided it by 2. Then times 1. These two guys, I can make them up to be 36 times 2 to get 72. It's still true, right? And now let's see, if I add them or subtract them, will I get minus 17? It's still very far from it. It won't give me 17. So I need to dissolve 36 again. This is where the game is. This is where you should pay much attention now. I divide 32 again by 2. If I divide 36 by 2, what will I get? I'll get 18, right? 8 times 2. Really, is it 18, right? 16. 8 times 2 is 16 now. If I divide here, I have 16. Sometimes I get confused with multiplication, but don't tell anybody that. So, yeah, I get 18. 18, of course. 8 plus 8 is 16. Yeah, so I get 18. Then 18 times 2, right, will give me 36. Then I have the 2 here. So I combine these two guys together. So I have 18 times 4. Let's see if it give me, of course, this will give me 72. Let's see if I add them or subtract them, I'll get 17. It's still not giving me 17. If I add them, I'll get 22. If I subtract, I'll get 14. It's still not giving 17. So I'll need to dissolve 18 again. If I divide 18 by 2 again, let's see what it gives me. I know you can divide 18 by 3, but let's divide by 2 now. Let's divide by 2 again and see. So if I divide 18 by 2, I'll get 9. So I have 9 times 2, then times 4. So I add these 4 together. So I have 9 times 8. Of course, 9 times 8 will give me 72. But when I add them, 9 plus 8 will give me 17. And I need minus 17, right? So that's quite easy. So I just put in my minus sign there. I'll just put in my minus 9 and minus 8. That will give me minus 17. And minus 9 times minus 8. That will give me 72. So that is what I want. You see the way I got my number. I just start from the simple multiplication. 72 times 1, 72. if it doesn't give you what you want, you keep on breaking it down until you get what you want. Yes, at least for a start. When you're now matured in this game, you can really do it without doing all of these calculations. You do it from your mind really fast. So now the two numbers I'm looking for is -9 and -8. Take note. So I have here to be 6x squared. Now instead of writing 17x minus 17x, I'll put down -9x minus 8x. Now plus 12 equal to 0. Then the next thing you know is to group. You all know that. Now what is common here in numbers? What can divide 6 and divide 9? The highest number that can divide 6 and divide 9, that is 3, right? So 3 is the highest number that can divide 6 and divide 9. And what is common in terms of x squared and x is common. So x can divide x squared, x can divide x, not x squared. X squared cannot divide x. There will be a remainder. So now when 6x squared is divided by 3x, if 3 divides 6, you get 2. If x divides x squared, of course, you get just x. Then minus, if 3 divides 9, you get 3. And if x divides x, of course, is 1. Let us confirm. 3x times 2x will give me 6x squared, and 3x times -3 will give me -9x. Remember, whatever you have here, you have to paste it right here. That is how I like to do it. And now, what will you multiply with 2x to get -8x? Of course, that will be -4. -4 times 2x will give me -8x, and that is it. So these two guys that are common, you factor them out again. And what will be left? Here you'll be having 3x. And here you'll be having -4, all equal to 0. All right, so at this point, you want to equate everybody to 0, just like we always do. So we have 2x minus 3 equal to 0, or 3x minus 4 equal to 0. Solve this guy for us. I have 2x equal to 3. When 3 comes over to this side, it becomes +3. And I'll divide everybody by 2. So x is now equal to 3 over 2. Done. Secondly, I have it to be 3x equal to 4. When -4 comes over, it becomes +4. And divide everybody by 3. And now x must be equal to 4 over 3. Yay, we've gotten the answer, right? So easy. Now, how do we do the short method? This is where I want you to pay close attention. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. All right, so let's go up here and solve this problem. I have 6x squared minus 17x plus 12 equal to 0. We've gotten the two factors we are looking for already, so that one is not a problem. I'm looking for two factors because I'm talking about x, so here will be x and here will be x. What are those two factors? It's -9 and -8. So I plug them right here. And because we are having a 6 here, not 1, the usual one we know, I will divide everybody by 6. I'll divide this 9 by 6, and I'll divide this 8 by 6. Like that, just like that. Just like that. And now you know that 3 here is 3 divide 9. 3 can divide 9 and 6 now. If 3 divide 9, you'll get a 3. If 3 divide 6, you get a 2. Yes. And here, 2 can divide. If 2 divide 8, you get 4. If 2 divide 6, you get 3 equal to 0. So you can equate everybody to 0. Once you equate everybody to 0, you get these guys, right? You see now, you get these guys. That is it. That is just what it is. So if you equate these guys to 0 now, you have x minus 3 over 2 equal to 0, or x minus 4 over 3 equal to 0. So here x will be equal to 4 over 3. When 4 over 3 comes here, it becomes positive. And here we have x equal to 3 over 2. When 3 over 2 comes over here, it becomes positive. You see, you got the same result. So that is what I want you to have in mind, how to divide everybody. But however, I want to say something on this again. Watch here, watch this side now. I have x minus 3 over 2 like this, and x minus 4 over 3 like this equal to 0. If I want to put this guy in factored form, I can multiply this guy by x, this guy by x. So I'll get him as 2x minus 3. Then if I multiply this guy by x, I will get this guy as 3x minus 4 equal to 0. This is it now. You see it now. This is really what I want you to have in mind. So if they want you to put your answer in factored form, you can leave it like this, or better still, this one is much better. Just this fraction multiply with this guy here, and this fraction go to this guy here, so that you have it in this form. So this is the factored form. Okay, so this is what I want to make you understand. I'm clear now. If you understand this concept, it's fine. If you don't understand this concept, let's move to the next example. I think that will explain more clearer. All right. This is another example that has to do with coefficient 2. Fine. I love this one. So first thing first, multiply 2 and 12. You get 24. This one is quite easy. Now you're looking for two numbers. When you multiply them, you get 24. And when you add them, you get negative 11. Start with the first one. 24 times 1 will give me 24. What else? Now, if you divide 24 by 2, what will you get? I feel like doing this thing with my mind, but however, let's just do it together. If you want to do it with your mind, you're looking at, oh, you multiply to get 24, when you add it to get 11. Thinking about those numbers now. Well, if your mind is not really working now, so you just do this one I want to show you. Divide 24 by 2, that will be 12 times 2, right? So we got 12 times 2 here. And times 1. So 2 and 1 multiply. So you have 12 times 2. 12 times 2 will give me 24. Then when I add it together, will I get 11? No way. No way. So I still need to break it down again. I divide this guy by 2. So I get 6 times 2. 6 times 2. Then times 2. So I have it to be 4. So I have 6 times 4. So when I multiply 6 times 4, I'll get 24. When I add it together, I'll get 10. I still need 11. So no way, it still doesn't work. So let's still divide this 6 by 2 again. Let's divide this 6 by 2. So I get 2 times 3, right? And then times 4. Then, yeah, of course, this guy, combine them together. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2. I'm still going back to this form again. So see what I'm going to do here now. 2 times 3 is 6, then times 4 will give me 24. So see what I'm going to do right now. If I decide to multiply 3 and 4, I'll get 12. Then 12 times 2 will not give me 11. So what I'll do, I'll combine these two together. So I'll get 3 times 2 times 4, which is 8. Yes, I know it's kind of a little bit complex here, but no problem. But see the way I do it. If I decide to do 2 multiply 12 again, I'm back here. See, 12 times 2 and 2 times 12 is almost the same thing if their signs are the same. So this is why I have to map this guy and this guy. So 2 times 4 is 8, and times my 3 here. 3 times 8 will still give me 24. And when I add them, I'll get 11. But I need a negative 11. So it's just very simple. Just put your minus 3 times your minus 8. That will give me 24. And when I add it, I'll get the negative 11. I know it's quite a little bit turning some things upside down, right? But I know when you do more example, you get to know it. So let's go to this place. So we have now 2y squared. And the two numbers I'm looking for is minus 3 and minus 8. So here will be minus 3y and minus 8y. Then plus 12 equal to 0. The next thing is what? Grouping. You group these guys like this. What is common here? Of course, it's just y, 2 and 3. No common number can divide them. It's just 1, but we don't have to factor out 1. So only y is common, y. And when 2y squared is divided by y, I'll be left with 2y. When 3y is divided by y, I'll be left with 3. Let's confirm. Y times 2y, 2y squared. Y times 3, 3y. So leave a space here and do paste whatever you have in the first parenthesis here. What will you multiply with 2y to get minus 8y? That's minus 4. Minus 4 times 2y will give me minus 8y. And it works for the other guys too. So these guys are common. Factor them out again. 2y minus 3. And you're left with y and minus 4. So that will be the next factor, equal to 0. This is the factored form of this quadratic equation, I mean. So now, we equate them to 0. 2y minus 3 equal to 0. Or y minus 4 equal to 0. From here, y is equal to 4. You know why? And here we got 2y equal to 3. And y is equal to 3 over 2. These are your solutions, right? Now, using the short method, that is where most of you are waiting for. But I tell you, the short method is good. It's good. But you earn more mark when you do this long method. You earn more mark, right? So now let's do it. We have 2y squared minus 11y plus 12 equal to 0. Now we're talking about y, no longer x. Well, I love this one. I love y. So I put my y here and y here. And two numbers we are looking for is minus 3 and minus 8. So I'll plug them right here, minus 3 and minus 8. But that's not all. Because we've got a 2 here, I'll divide all these guys by 2. So I have here divided by 2, divide here by 2. Because we have a 2 here. You understand? If we add 100, yeah, I'll divide everybody by 100, just like this way. You understand? Now from here, you see 8 and 2 divide, so you get, these two can also come over right here. Like I explained, you have 2y minus 3. I mean, these two coming right here. You know, this is the trick. So 2 comes here, you have 2y minus 3. And of course, you don't need to take these two to this side because, you know, 8 and 2 is divisible. So that will give me y minus 4 equal to 0. So you now equate each of them to 0. 2y minus 3 equal to 0. So from here, 2y equal to 3 and y equal to 3 over 2. And here, y equal to y minus 4 equal to 0 and y equal to 4. And that is it. We've gotten the same answer. And I believe so far by now, quadratic equation by factorization is not a problem. If you have anybody that is having this topic as a problem, show love by sharing this video to those persons. And you're welcome. You're welcome. So let us go to the next slide. All right. This problem here is really interesting because all of the problems we'll be solving, we do not have a negative sign here. So this is one that we have a negative sign. So I love this problem so much. Now, of course, you do the same thing. You've got 2 times minus 5, that's minus 10, right? And now you're looking for two numbers such that when you multiply them together, you get a minus 10. And when you add them up or subtract them, either you add or you subtract, you still get a negative 3. That's this guy right here. So what could be these positive two numbers? So I like to start with the multiplication. Well, is there another thing you can think of? Well, let's do it like that. Do you want to think of anything? What will you multiply to get 10? And when you add it, to get 3? Oh, I've gotten it. I've gotten it. Yeah, it's in my mind now. Yeah, really, really simple. But I won't tell you. Let me just do it here. So I have 10 times 1 will give me 10. And if I divide this guy by 2, as usual, you get 2 times 5. Then times 1. I map these two guys. So I have 2 times 5 will give me 10. So let's start from here. If you add these guys together, will it give you, oh, we need a negative 10. Not just 10, we need a negative 10. So I either put negative sign here to have a negative 10 here, or I put a negative sign on 5 to still get a negative 10 here. You know, these are two different cases. You know that. They are not the same. So let's start with this one. If I add minus 2 and 5, minus 2 plus 5 will give me a positive 3. Minus 2 plus 5 is a positive 3. And that fails. So this one fails. So let's go to this one. When I add them together, so 2 plus minus 5, and that is the same as 2 minus 5. And 2 minus 5 will give me minus 3. So I got a negative number, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a negative 3. So the two numbers we're looking for is just positive 2 and negative 5. Yeah, this is the two number we're looking for. So don't confuse it with negative 2 and 5. Yeah, this one fails, but this one is correct. So as you always do, we got 2x squared, we got positive 2x, and we got negative 5x. And now somebody is asking that what if I bring in the negative 5x right here and the positive 2x right here, what happens? Nothing is going to change. You still get the same result. If you decide to write, let me even do that right now. If you decide to write negative 5x first, then you put your positive 2x here, it doesn't really change anything. You still get the same result. That's why math is cool. Math is so cool because of that. So the next thing you do, you group them, right? And what is common here? X is common because no number can divide 2 and 5. So X is only common factor. If 2x squared is divided by x, you got 2x minus, when 5x divides x, you got just 5. As if to say, x times 2x is this guy, and x times, so you know what to do now. You're already conversant with every step I'm going to take. You know what I'm doing. So if I'm not saying anything right now, you know what I'm doing. So back to this point. What number will I put here such that when I multiply it with 2x, I'll get 2x? What will you multiply with 2x to still get 2x? Of course, it's just 1. 1 is the only number, and that is positive 1. Because positive 1 times 2x will give you a 2x. And yeah, that's it. So now these two guys are common. We bring them out. So we've got 2x minus 5. And these guys here, we have them right here. X plus 1 equal to 0. And the next thing is very simple. The next step is very simple, equating them to 0. So we've got x plus 1 equal to 0. And this guy is x equal to minus 1. First answer, gotten. Second answer, we have 2x minus equal to 5. And therefore, x is equal to 5 over 2 when you divide everybody by 2. Yeah, so you got 5 over 2, right? Great. And the next thing you want to do from here, we've gotten our solution. So now the short method. Now let's use the short method. Let's see what it gives us when we use the short method. Now, the short method, we got 2x squared minus 3x minus 5 equal to 0. And now we're talking about x here. So you want to open each bracket and start with the x like this. We've already gotten the two numbers we're looking for. That's positive 2 and negative 5. So we have it here, positive 2, negative 5. And because this guy is 2, so I will divide everybody by 2. So this guy will be divided by 2, divided by 2. Of course, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we got x plus 1 here. And because we can divide 5 and 2, so this 2 comes right here. So we got 2x minus 5 equal to 0. And now we equate them to 0. So here, x plus 1 equal to 0, or 2x minus 5 equal to 0. Here you got 2x equal to 5, and x equal to 5 upon 2, and here x equal to minus 1. Same answers we've got. Now, I believe at this point, you already understand how to solve quadratic equation with these two methods. And by now, you're already confident in solving quadratic equation. So if you love what we do, like I always say, share this video to other people you know, you love. That is showing love. So that is all I have for you today. Let us go to the next slide. Wow. So this is the end of the game. This is the end of the game. So I'm so happy to have you guys right here. I'm so happy to have you guys again. And like I always say, make sure you share this video to other people you feel find this video interesting. And this is the package I have for you. Wow. This is a love from me to you. All right. So I believe you appreciate this so much. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Stay good. Be a nice ambassador. Always respect your leaders, your government, and always do the right thing in your society. God bless you and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.